everyone, and we're going to talk about the sensory activities for the week of September 14th. We're going to be making tempera paint butterflies. We're going to be doing feather bead flowers. We're going to be working with the elements of shape with crayon and watercolor. We're going to talk about some feather activities. We're going to have a gross motor activity with the 10 frames. And then we're going to talk about the water beads, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you can do is just have your student make their palette with a piece of paper plate and their Q-tips on each individual one. And you can start by just experimenting by making a few blobs on one side of your folded paper, and then you're folding it in half and pressing down on it, and then when it opens up it looks something like this, which is just a beautiful picture in and of itself. So the next step would be that you can take a piece of printer paper like this, you fold it in half, and then you're going to help your student make half of a wing there and then another wing there, and then we're going to cut it out. Okay, we're going to go ahead and cut it out. And then what they're going to do is they're going to do the same thing with the blobs of tempera. And we're going to try to cover all of the white. We don't want very much white background. So it's going to look something like this. I'm hoping you have something to protect your table so you're not going to make a mess on your table. And we're going to work on making a butterfly. Okay? So you're going to start by putting just some blobs of paint on your butterfly. All you need to do is one side. Putting some blue on. I'm going to go to the edge so that I try not to have too many blank spots. And I'm going to do every color. I've got purple, green, blue, and put, plenty on. And a big blotch of red right here. More. And you're going to use every color of the rainbow and just have them make their blobs. And try to fill in as much of the white as you can. And just go ahead and use the rest of my color to fill in the white spaces. And then you fold your butterfly over. And you're pressing. And then you open it up. And you have your beautiful butterfly. Okay, you can use pipe cleaners to make some antenna. When this dries, you can put a little pen and make the body and the head, and then you can add some pipe cleaners for the antenna. And there is your tempera paint butterfly. Cute, right? All right, so here's the next activity we're going to do. We are going to be making some flowers with part of an egg carton and the feathers and the beads. And you can do this on a nice piece of construction paper to have like a nice background. So what you're going to do is for math this week, we are using our egg cartons, and we're cutting off the last two so that you can have your 10 frame. So we're just going to use these egg cartons, cups, and I'm just going to cut one of these off like this. So I have something like this, and then I'm just going to trim it down a bit. All right, so it looks something like that, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to color. You're going to use your tempera paint and you're going to color this part of the flower. So I'm going to make mine purple. You could use more than one color for this part if you want. And I'm coloring all the way down to the edge with my tempera paint. All right, I'm going to cut this little edge off too. So I have something like that. Okay, that's going to be the middle part of the flower. Now you're going to use your glue and you're going to put plenty of it on the edges, this bottom part. You're going to use your glue and you're going to glue the edge of the flower onto your paper like this. Okay? And then you're going to be adding a big circle of glue on the outside. Okay, so you're going to have a big ring of glue around the outside. All right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to use your feathers to make the petals. And I'm just going to start putting my feathers going around. If they're extra long like this, you can actually cut them. And making your petals. You can also cut off the long part there at the end. And let's see what else. I think I'll use a white one. And maybe a yellow one. And I'm going to cut this one too because it's kind of long and you can use both of them. There's one of them. Here we go. And maybe I'll use this cute pink color feather. And sticking it on that ring of glue on the outside. And you have your feathers. You have your petals, rather. You're sticking those on the outside rim of the flower, like that. Okay, so now you are here. You've got your egg carton that's painted with the tempera. You put a big blob of circle of glue around the outside and you put on your feather petals. And then you're going to add another little circle of glue around the outside. Plenty of glue, this is fine. And you're going to put another layer of glue around the outside. Okay, and then you're going to use your beads and you're going to add your beads to the outside part of the egg carton over the feathers. So I'm putting my beads going around. Okay. See that? Got my petals, I've got my beads going around. And then you can make a stem. You can use green or whatever color you want. And you're going to make the little stem with maybe a couple little leaves on it like that. And there's your feather bead flowers. Okay, you can make a couple on there. I also gave you a few blank big white pieces. You could start out with some watercolor as a background if you wanted, and then do your flower on top of that. You can use the construction paper. And there you have your feather flower with the beads. Okay, so here's another project for this week. We are going to be looking at the 5 basic elements of shape again. So we have our circle shape, which is any shape that's colored in. It could be any shape as long as it's colored in. Then we have our circle family. You can have circles, ovals, ellipses, kidney, any shape you want, and it's not filled in. Then you have your line family. You've got your lines, any straight line, fat or thin. And then you have your curved line family, any kind of curve, even a spiral. And then you have your angle line family, which is any kind of angle line. So what they're going to do is they're going to use a piece of printer paper, and they're going to use their crayons, and they're going to make a bunch of different elements of shape on their white printer paper. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Use as many colors as you want, and we're just going to be having them focus on making their dot family. So I'm going to make a bunch of pink dots here. Their circle family. There's a circle. Okay, dots and circles. They can be little teeny dots. Use lots of color. And then we're talking about our straight line family. So they're going to just make a line, hopefully going from one edge of the paper to another. Straight lines. They can be fat straight lines too. You're going to want to put down as much of the crayon wax as you can for the next step. It'll make it that much nicer. So I'm putting some more straight lines here. I'm going to use I'm using another color now to do another element of shape. I'm going to use my curved line, do my curved lines. You can make squiggly lines. Use lots and lots of the crayon. You're going to fill up as much as you can with the crayon. There's another dot I'm putting that's on the inside of the circle. Here's another curved line. So it's starting to look something like this. So they're practicing their straight lines, their curved lines, their angle lines. I'm going to make a bunch of angle lines now. And I'm going to make some more angle lines, some more straight lines. I might make a spiral here. It's another straight line, another curved line, another dot, another circle. And have them keep going like this until you've got a lot of crayon on your paper. Okay? So it's starting to look, it's basically an abstract, okay? Dot family, circle family, angle line, straight line, and curved line families. All right, and then you're going to take your watercolors, and you're going to need a cup for the water, and you have your little paintbrush, and you're going to start covering over your crayon with the watercolor. So I'm just going to start, and you can see kind of how it starts to look when you do this. It's pretty neat. So I'm going to start with red, and I'm just going to start covering over my crayon. And what you see happens, really nice, is that the crayon kind of continues to stand out even with the watercolor on it. So you might have them just color this shape in now. And do you see how this orange shows through with the wax from the crayons? So it's really a neat effect. So let's see, what am I going to do next? I'm going to use some blue, and I'm going to go over this shape. And I can see that my orange and my yellow crayon is coming through the watercolor. Okay, so they're going to continue doing that until they've covered the whole thing with color. So I'm going to use my green now. I'm going to follow along with the shapes that I made with my crayon. Use plenty of watercolor, and then the wax crayon color shows through in a really neat way. And then after they've done all that, then they'll have their beautiful elements of shape abstract. Okay? We're going to be using more with the elements of shape and moving ahead with our realistic drawing curriculum, but they need to be able to start practicing making those straight lines, curved lines, dots, circles, and angle lines. Okay? So for feather activities, you can just do some simple things, some simple little sensory activities. One might be where you take a feather and pet your nose, pet your chin, your cheeks, your ears. You know what? You can practice just brushing your face with the feather. You can also try walking with your feather. See if you can, how far you can walk with your feather on your head. Another thing you can do would be really good for the proprioceptive is the crawling. So you're going to each, maybe you and a sibling are going to take your feather, you're going to blow it across the room, and whoever can get their feather to the other side while they're crawling and blowing their feather across the room, and that's a good crawling activity as well. And then the 10 frame, what you can do is you can create with the masking tape on the ground. You've got your 10 frame with the masking tape, okay? And they can do a lot of interactive activities with this. If it's 3 plus 7 is 10. 1, 2, 3 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 equals 10. You could also put various objects to create combinations of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 plus 6 equals 10. Okay? And finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about the water beads again. Everybody got a bag of water beads like this. you should have gotten this bag of water beads. In your sensory kit, you're going to get a big bowl, you're going to put them in, and then you're going to let them sit with some water in the bowl until they all absorb the water. And then you can put them in a nice big bin. Once they've all expanded, you can see how it starts to look. And this is a really good thing just to have around the house. Once or twice a week, they might decide to visit their sensory bin with the water beads, and it's very integrating for them, and it's just a really good sensory activity. All right, so that's our sensory activities for the week of 9/14. Have fun.